have suddenly got interesting over in League One, as of course Rotherham United, who have led the table for a long time, have dropped into the playoff spots. Wigan and MK Dons going up at the moment, but will they still be there this coming Easter? We'll take a little look next. Today we'll look forward to match number 43 over in League One, and we'll get to that in just one second. If you know where you've been, smash your subscribe button, bang and say all things League One related, Lava Rose related, world football related. We got it all here, boys. And one Rooski, that's right, of course, it's getting very spicy at the top of the table, and I'm not even including the playoffs yet. We'll take a look at that in a minute. Of course, big shout out to my VRPs. They are the patrons, guys. Thank you for loving, of course, behind the scenes. You know who you are. Of course, big week, of course, heading into Easter Friday, of course, with a full load of fixtures, plus a couple of catch-up games. We'll take a look at that right here, right now. So make sure you smash your subscribe, thumbs up and all that kind of jazz, and also check out the links in the old description. So here we go. Of course, recap the results from the past weekend. Is it just the weekend? It is just the weekend. So here we go. Bolton against the Owls, of course, 1-1 draw in the end. Burton Albion with a 0-0 draw against Plymouth Argyle. Cambridge with a 2-1 win over Morecambe. Dented, of course, Morecambe's hopes. Of course, Pompey lost to Cheltenham as well. Called it, lads. Meanwhile, Doncaster with the 2-0 win over Crewe. Crewe are officially down. The first team to go down or up across the EFL there. Of course, Wycombe with a draw against Gillingham. Fleetwood with a 2-1 loss against Accrington. Stanley. They're in trouble as well. Meanwhile, Lincoln City did lose to Wigan. Of course, Oxford did lose at home to Sunderland, which is a bit of a shitter there. Meanwhile, Rotherham with a 1-0 loss against Charlton. Of course, Shrewsbury with a draw against Ipswich. And they're all square between the Dons of various types. Let's take a look at the table, of course. As you can see it right here, right now, Wigan are, of course, leading the charge. They've played 2 games more than MK Dons, got 3 points clear of them, and it looks like they're going to go up to the Championship as well. Meanwhile, MK Dons are at the moment, of course, 3 points clear over Rotherham. Rotherham do have 2 games in hand on them, but of course, they need to win them first. They've got to get points on the board for the time being. Meanwhile, Plymouth, 78 points. Of course, Wednesday are in there with 73, and the Morecambes are up there in 6th spot for the time being. But again, played a game less than the likes of Plymouth as well. I'm just trying to take a look at this, which is better for me. They're in it in good stead as well there for Sunderland, but of course all could change in the last 5 or 6 games, of course, wherever you are in the league. Down the foot of the table, of course, Crewe are down. Doncaster could join them very soon. Wimbledon and Gillingham at the time being are going to go down. But, of course, Morecambe and Fleetwood are also in that discussion. I think you're safe as houses from Lincoln all the way up there, of course. But so realistically, when we look at this, I would say it's between 8th place, Oxford, and up for the playoffs. And then, of course, it is between Fleetwood and down for the relegation. Anyone in the middle there probably should be planning their accounts for next season in League One. So that's my take on it. Let's take a look at you guys then. Well done to these guys for getting the pickaroonies in, and well done for Frosty, JSP50 are great, and Dandy Cool with, of course, picking up 4 points there at the respectable 12, of course, I think was on the horizon. Let's take a look at, of course, the grand scheme of things. This is the mini leaderboard for the back end of the season, and deep out of the greats. Had a cracking back end of the season with 114 points. Finish 77 is up there with 109. Shane O'Donnell up there in bronze with 101 points, of course, and a big shout out to the lovely patrons, of course, there who are back in the channel behind the scenes. You could do just that as well. Check the links down. But from as little as a bottle of water, and I'm talking the cheap shit, all the way through, not the Fiji stuff. I'm talking about the cheap shit, all the way through to the Fiji shit if you wanted to. But anyway, this is the link for the predictions. Currently for League One, and these are the games. Of course, we have a couple of games coming at you from tomorrow, so if you want to get maximum points, you want to get in there right here, right now. So let's take a look at them. Of course, kick it on forward with what do we have? We have I've got to get there first. It's Burton up against Wigan, of course, over at the Pirelli. Let's take a look at this one, of course, coming at you on Tuesday, December. What am I thinking? Of course, April the 12th. And I played 8 times, 14-2 for Burton, 3 for Wigan, and 3 draws, of course. Just 1 win in the last 6 games for all Burton right now, 25% form up against the Wigan side. Unbeaten, of course, haven't lost in the last 6 games, of course, winning 4 of the last 5, 83% form over the last 6. Of course, last time around the Pirelli was a 4-3 win for Wigan, 7-0 thriller back in December 2020. The reverse fixture at the DW was a 2-0 win for Wigan back in, of course, October. Of course, Wigan a 3-1 win over Lincoln, of course, back-to-back wins for them, of course, 6 goals and 1 goal conceded up against the Burton side, of course. 3 games now without a goal for them. A bit of a shit show for them at the moment. Meanwhile, 10-3 is your Burton, of course, 5-2 is your draw, and 2017 on is your Wigan. They are red hot favourites to win this one. 2-0 win for them. They're going to maintain their top of the league status with the W. Over Burton, of course, Pompey up against Rotherham. About the 3rd time of asking this one. Now played the 8 times 2001, 3 wins for Pompey, 4 for Rotherham, and 1 draw. Just 1 win and 6 for Portsmouth right now, 42% form up against the Rotherham side, of course. Taking a bit of a wobble here, 58% form for them, winning just twice in the last 5 games, of course, 58% form for them. Last round, though, at the Fratton Park was a 3-2 win for Pompey back in November 2019. The reverse fixture at the New York Stadium was a 4-1 win for Rotherham back in, of course, October. Rotherham with a 1-0 loss against Charlton, of course. Portsmouth with a 1-0 loss against Cheltenham last round. The odds here, 50-8 is your Pompey, 6-4 is your Rotherham, and 23-10 is your draw. I'm back in a draw here, which, of course, will not be good enough for Rotherham to maintain top 2 spots, I think, heading into this weekend. Of course, speaking of the weekend, let's take a look at it. Accrington Stanley up against Burton Albion, of course, over at Accrington, of course, played 26 times 2003, 10 wins at Accrington, 9 wins at Burton, and 7 draws. Just 1 win and 6 for Accrington right now, 33% form. They will be back here next season. Of course, that was confirmed last weekend, I think. Meanwhile, Burton, of course, 1 win in the last 6 for them, 25% form for them heading into this one. Last time around, though, Accrington was a 0-0 draw back in April 2021, around about this time last season. Meanwhile, the reverse fixture at the Pirelli was a 4-0 for Burton back in November. Meanwhile, Burton with a 0-0 draw against Plymouth. 1, 2, 3 games without scoring a goal. They'll not score a goal there, so it'll be another game. Meanwhile, Accrington with a 2-1 over Fleetwood in a monster win for them, of course, last weekend. Look at the odds for here. We got 11-10 on is your course. Accrington Stanley 5-2 is draw. 12-5 is your away win. I'm back in Accrington Stanley here with a 2 win for them to take to the house. Next, of course, we have Sunderland, of course, up against Shrewsbury, of course, down at the Stadium of Light. Of course, played 7 times 2016, 3 for Sunderland, 2 for Shrewsbury, and 2 draws, of course. 4 wins in the last 5, well, actually, unbeaten in the last 6 games is Sunderland right now. 83% form up against the Shrewsbury Town side, of course, just 1 defeat at the past 5, 58% form for them heading into this game. Last round at the Stadium of Light was a 1-0 win for Sunderland back in January 2021. The reverse fixture, of course, was a draw back in November. Meanwhile, Shrewsbury pick up a draw against Ipswich Town, 1-1 last time around. And got Sunderland with a 2-1 win over Oxford at the Kazam. Meanwhile, the odds on this one then, shall we? What have we got going on here? We've got Sunderland 11-8 on for the Richie, 11-5 is draw, and 4-1 is your away win. That's Shrewsbury. Going to go with a 3-1 win for the Mackhams on this one to take it to the house. Charlton Athletic up against Morecambe down at the Valley, of course, coming at you this week, this Easter Friday. Played just the one time, of course, just 1 defeat past 6 for Charlton, 75% form up against Morecambe side. Of course, just what we're looking at here, 2 wins the last 6 for them, 33% form for them heading into this game. Last time around, they're over at the Globe, of course, was a 2-2 draw for everybody, of course, back in November. Meanwhile, of course, Charlton with the 1-0 win over Rotherham last time around, with, of course, Cambridge beating Morecambe on the weekend as well. Look at the odds for this one then, shall we? Of course, 2017 on is your Charlton, 11-4 is your Morecambe, 5-2 is your draw. Unfortunately, Morecambe will take the L on this one. Charlton will take the win, and of course 3 points going their way. Cheltenham up against Gillingham, of course, must-win game for Gillingham. You would think played the 14 times 2006, 5 was Cheltenham, 4 wins to Gillingham, and 5 draws as well. Just 1 win and 4 for Cheltenham right now, 58% form up against a Gillingham side, of course, 1-2 lost to and drawn to over the last 6, 50% form for them heading into this game. Last round though in Cheltenham, in the league, it was a 1-0 win for Cheltenham back in, of course, April 2013. The reverse fixture at Gillingham was a 2-0 for Cheltenham back in, of course, November this campaign. They also played each other in the FA Cup in the first round. Cheltenham with the 1-0 over Gillingham at Cheltenham as well. Twice, in fact. God, that's gracious. They've already played each other 3 times this season. It was a draw in Gillingham in the FA Cup first attempt. The replay was at Cheltenham. Cheltenham won on that one. And of course, Gillingham did lose at home to Cheltenham in the league. Goodness gracious me. Meanwhile, of course, Cheltenham with the 1-0 over Pompey. And of course, and Gillingham with the 1-1 draw against Wycombe. Of course, picking up some points there against some high-flying teams. Look at the odds on this one then, shall we? What have we got? We've got Cheltenham coming at you 23-20 for the Richie, 21-10 is your Gillingham, 23-10 is your draw. Back, of course, the draw here for me. They are scrapping for the lives, is Gillingham at the moment, but I don't think that's going to be good enough, I would imagine. Anyway, Crewe up against Wimbledon, of course. Crewe going down. Wimbledon could join them very, very soon. Of course, placed at the 5 times 2011. 2 wins for Crewe, 1 for Wimbledon, and 2 draws as well. 0% form for Crewe up against a 17% form for Wimbledon. Of course, Wimbledon did draw with Crewe in Crewe last time round, back in, of course, January. The reverse fixture at Wimbledon was a 3-2 win for Wimbledon back in November. Meanwhile, Crewe picking up a 2-0 loss against Doncaster. Of course, Wimbledon with a draw against Charlton, MK Dons. In fact, back-to-back draws for them over Charlton and MK Dons, but of course, both of those games were at home. Meanwhile, the reverse, this game will take place, of course, on Easter Friday. 19-10 is your Crewe, 23-10 is your draw, and 30-10 is your Wimbledon on this. Going to go with a 1-0 win for Crewe here. Of course, despite going down, they're going to make it a bit of awkward for the teams in and around them. Doncaster up against Bolton down at the Keep Moat. Of course, let's take a look at this one then, shall we? Now, these two sides, of course, play each other minus 6 times in 2007. 1 win for Doncaster, 5 wins for Bolton, and 0 draws. Just 1 win and 6 there for Doncaster right now. 25% form up against the Bolton side, of course. 50% form, just 1 defeat past 6, drawing a lot of games along the process. Meanwhile, last round at the Keep Moat was a 2-1 for Doncaster back in February 2020. The reverse fixture was a 3-0 for Bolton back in November. Meanwhile, of course, Bolton picking up back-to-back 3 draws in a row. Of course, just 1 defeat past 6 for them. 3 successive 1-1 draws in a row. We had Doncaster with a 2-0 win over Crewe last time around. The odds here, though, we have Doncaster 11-4 for the Richie, 11-10 on is your Bolton, and of course 23-10 is your draw. I'm backing a 2-1 win for Doncaster here, and again, making it very, very spicy down the foot of the table, as of course Doncaster try to save them season from falling to bits. Meanwhile, Fleetwood Town up against Oxford, of course, over at Fleetwood. Now these two sides played each other 14 times 2013, 10 wins for Fleetwood, 2 for Oxford, and 2 draws. Just 1 win and 6 though for Fleetwood right now, 33% form up against Oxford side. Of course, unbeaten, sorry, not unbeaten, winless in the last 4 games, 42% form for Carl Robertson's boys. Last time around though in Fleetwood, as a 2-0 win for Fleetwood. That's back in October 2020. The reverse fixture, of course, at the Kazan was a 3-1 win for Oxford back in November. Meanwhile, Oxford with a 2-1 loss against Sunderland. Of course, Fleetwood with a 2-1 loss against Accrington Stanley on this one. Look at the odds here: 14-5 is Fleetwood, 11-10 on is your Oxford, and 5-2 is your draw. I'm back in Oxford here to get back to winning ways to save their season. Of course, forever the bridesmaid, never the bride is Oxford. MK Dons up against Sheffield Wednesday, a bit of a zinger chicken dinner of this one. Of course, coming at you. Actually, some games are actually taking place on Saturday here. This is a bit of a turn up for the Books. Of course, now these two sides played 31 times in 1993, 11 wins to MK Dons, 9 wins to Sheffield Wednesday, and 11 draws, of course. MK Dons, of course, unbeaten in the last 6, 83% form up against Sheffield Wednesday side, also unbeaten in the last 6, 75% form heading into this game. Last round, though, over at Stadium MK was a 2-1 for MK Dons. That was back in December 2015. Meanwhile, the reverse fixture, of course, was a 2-1 for Sheffield Wednesday back in November. Meanwhile, of course, Wednesday pick up a draw against Bolton on the road, and of course, MK Dons pick up a draw against Wimbledon on the road as well. The odds here, 8-5 is your MK Dons, 21-10 is your draw, 13-8 is your Sheffield Wednesday. Back, of course, MK Dons here, 2-1 win for them at home. Boost their, of course, promotion hopes, and of course, dent Sheffield Wednesday's playoff dreams. Pompey up against Lincoln City, of course, coming at you as well on Friday. Of course, now these two sides have played each other 5 times in 2019, 4 for Pompey, 1 for Lincoln, and 0 draws. Of course, Pompey, though, without a win in 5, 42% form. Of course, they will pick up a draw against Rotherham, of course, this midweek. Up against the Lincoln side, of course, just 1 win and 6, 33% form for them heading into this game. Last round at Fratton Park, it was a 1-0 win for Lincoln back in January 2020. On the reverse fixture, of course, at Lincoln, Sinselbank was a 3-0 win for Pompey back in November. Of course, Lincoln with a 3-1 loss against Wigan. Of course, Pompey with a 1-0 loss against Cheltenham. Of course, the odds here, we have, what do we have on this one? We have Portsmouth, of course, 2017 on for the Richie, 12-5 is your draw, 3-1 is your way win. That's Lincoln City. Back, of course, Pompey here with a 2-0 win for them to take it to the house. Into the final 3, we have Rotherham up against, of course, Ipswich, and a bit of a zinger as well, coming at you on Saturday, April the 16th. Now, played the 17 times 2002, 9 was for Rotherham, 7 was for Ipswich, and 1 draw, of course. Like I said before, 58% form for Rotherham right now. Of course, just two wins in the last 5 games up against the Ipswich town side, just 1 win in the last 6, 58% form for them, just 1 defeat also in the last 6, if you look at it a different way. Meanwhile, the reverse fixture, of course, over at Portman Rovers, 2-0 win for Rotherham back in, of course, November. Meanwhile, Shrewsbury pick up a draw against Ipswich. Of course, Charlton did beat Rotherham last time around. The odds here, though, for this one, 11-10 on is your Rotherham, 9-4 is your draw, and 40-5 is your draw. Back, of course, Rotherham to get back to winning ways, and of course, a okay week for them when you look at it over the grand scheme of things. Meanwhile, of course, Wigan Athletic up against Cambridge, of course, down at the DW. Of course, another big week for Wigan. Of course, played each other just the one time. These two sides, of course, we'll talk about that in a minute. Meanwhile, Wigan coming to this unbeaten, of course, in the last 6 games. Of course, picking up 4 wins the last 5, 83% form. Up against the Cambridge side of 1-3, lost 3 over the last 6, 50% form. Of course, actually just 1 defeat past 4 for them, if you look at it that way. Last round at Cambridge was a 2-2 draw in Cambridge back in November. Of course, Wigan with a 3-1 win over Lincoln, and of course, Cambridge with a 2-1 win over Morecambe. Of course, Wigan also winning against Burton, of course, this midweek as well. The odds, though, for this one, then, shall we? We've got Wigan, of course, 2-1 on for the Richie, 40-5 is your draw, and 5-1 is your long shots. That's Cambridge. Going to back, of course, Wigan here. Back-to-back wins here, back-to-back 2-0 wins, and of course, back-to-back clean sheets to boot. And then wrap it up. It will be Wycombe up against Plymouth. Another zinger on Easter Friday. Goodness gracious me, a lot of good games. Played 20 times, 2003, 9 wins for Wycombe, 6 wins for Plymouth, and 5 draws. Of course, Wycombe, though, unbeaten in the last 6, 75% form. Up against the Plymouth side, also 1 defeat past 6, 75% form. Also heading into this game. Last round, though, at Wycombe, it was a 1-0 win for Wycombe back in January 2019. The reverse fixture at Plymouth was a 3-0 win for Wycombe as well. So Wycombe unbeaten against Plymouth over the last 6, of course, pick up 3 wins and 3 draws heading into this game. Of course, Wycombe with a draw against Gillingham, of course, but Plymouth with a draw against Burton last time around. The odds here, though, of course, 2017 on is your Wycombe, 12-5 is your draw, and 14-5 is your away win. That's Plymouth. Goodness gracious me. Going to go a 1-0 win for Wycombe on this one. Just enough to keep the heat and, of course, make that playoff race even more interesting than it already is. That's the link, boys. Cut League 1. If you want to get amongst it, please do so. Also, smash your thumbs up. Smash your subscribe. They do wonders for the old algorithm. Of course, let me know. It'll let the YouTube system know that you like this stuff. You like this kind of content. Yeah, you know, whether it's from me or from someone else, it will feed the beast. And then, of course, you will get the content. That's it, my boys. Smash your thumbs up. Smash your subscribe. Check the tableau, Twitch, Facebook, all that kind of stuff. But until then, boys, we're done right now.